Good morning, and welcome to the Star Spangled Sit Down, where we take a look at the intersection of culture between the United States and Jamaica. I'm your host, Bobby Adelson, Public Affairs Officer at the U.S. Embassy in Kingston, Jamaica. This morning, we have an amazing show for you all today. Obviously, the Tokyo Olympic Games are starting up in just a couple of days, and so we're so happy that we have three wonderful interviews for you all, including the 2012 200-meter bronze medalist Weir, the host of SportsMax Zone George Davis, and our next guest, five-time Olympian and eight-time Olympic medalist Veronica Campbell Brown. Veronica, welcome to the sit down. How are you?
Hi, thank you for having me. And I want to say good morning to all the viewers.
All the viewers are writing in plenty of comments right now. So if you're out there watching us, please submit some comments and we'll pull them up. So Veronica, again, this is awesome. I'm so happy that you're here. I'm a huge fan. I'm a huge fan of sprinting. This is going to be the first time since the 1996 Atlanta Olympics that the world is not going to have you or see you on the Olympic stage, as you just recently announced your retirement. So what brought about your decision to retire?
I had an amazing career, and I was preparing for the Jamaica trials in hopes of making it to Tokyo 2020, but I got injured and I did not have enough time to recover. And so I had to make the decision to not contest the trials because I don't feel like I was in the shape I needed to be to compete at that level. And I didn't want to risk getting injured again in the trials. And so I feel like it was the right time for me to say goodbye to the sport I love. And I am very comfortable with the decision because I've done so much, I've achieved so much. And although I wanted to be at this my sixth Olympic Games, I'm happy with everything because my younger brother, Sean Bailey, is actually going to Tokyo. So it is his first Olympic Games and it's the first time I'm not in an Olympic Games. So it's kind of a good ending for me. So I'm excited now to sit back and watch him and all the other athletes compete at the Olympics and just continue to support from afar.
What's Sean's event?
He's a 400-meter runner, so he will be competing for Jamaica in the 400 meters and the 4x400 meter relay.
That is awesome. Okay, I want to hear about what it must have been like for you growing up. How does a girl from the small town of Clarkstown, Trelawney, go to become one of the most decorated Olympians of all time?
It started with being blessed with the gift. I discovered that I was very fast from a very young age. I used to race boys on the street in Trelawney and I used to beat a lot of them. And
Nice.
of course, that really lifted my confidence. And so I realized that I had something special. And one of my teachers advised me to embark on track and field as a career. And I also see a lot of opportunity because as an athlete that worked very hard and embraced my talent, I got the opportunity to get an education, which if I'd stayed in Jamaica, my parents could not have afforded it. So I got a scholarship to Barton County College, and then I transferred to the University of Arkansas. And from there, I went on to become a professional athlete. And so it started with being blessed, and embrace my talent and work hard and work towards all the opportunities that were lined up for me and take advantages of them.
How does Fayetteville, Arkansas compare to Jamaica?
It is absolutely different, but I loved living in Fayetteville. It's a college community. It's a small community. The community really embraced University of Arkansas. They love sports and they supported us. And when I got to University of Arkansas, I went into a culture that was like a winning culture. And that's what I used to growing up in Jamaica, run at Trams and run at Vertical High School and even Barton County. And so it felt like home. I missed some of the Jamaican food and some of the things and the warm weather, of course, but being in a culture that embraced the sport that I love and at the same time was also giving me a good education, give me the opportunity to balance my studies and my athletics was a great decision. And I enjoyed my time at Arkansas and I'm just proud to be a Razorback.
Yeah, Arkansas has a storied history in track and field and many national championships. So I'm curious, you come from a family where you have 9 siblings. Do you think any of that helped you? Did you race against your brothers and sisters growing up? Was it always like a battle? Were you the fastest kid in your family?
Actually, I didn't race against my brother and sister much. I raced other boys because my 2 older brother did not live with me, and so I did not get to race them. But actually, they were very good in high school, but they did not go on to the professional level. They move on to other things. But I am very pleased, as I mentioned, my brother Sean. I'm very pleased that at least one of my siblings decided to embrace the talent, embrace the gift that they got, and really compete at professional level. And I just hope that Sean can have a really good career. And I'm just happy to be behind him and cheer him and give him all the support that he needs.
Well, we're going to support him this coming Olympics. I'm gonna pull up a couple comments that we have. All right, Nick, we love you, VCB. Jamaica best. Thank you, Nick.
Thanks, Nick.
And then my mom, much love to Veronica.
Thanks, Mom.
And then let's see. Rick says one of Jamaica's best, VCB.
Thank you.
So in your very first Olympics in 2000 in Sydney, you actually were on a relay team with Merlene Ottey, who I read in an article from many years ago who you called your role model. What was it like being a part of her final Olympics, which is also your first Olympics?
It was nerve-wracking because I had a huge responsibility. I was given the second leg of the 4x100 meter relays. And a lot of people think the second leg is one of the longest legs, just the way the staggers are structured. And so here I was at 18 years old, and I was given a task, and the task was to make sure I passed the baton on because the objective was for us to medal. And I was nervous. I was nervous about messing things up. And sadly, there are a few of the seniors who didn't think I was capable. And so I had the pressure of making sure that I proved them wrong and make sure that I delivered and did well. And it was absolutely incredible to compete with Merlene. And Merlene and I stayed in touch. She's a great person. As I said, she's my role model. She's very motivational, and she is always behind me and supporting me and pushing me. And so it was a great experience, and I am happy that I was able to play my part well, and we walked away with a silver medal in the 4x100 meters.
Yes, and that was the first of your 8 medals. Which of your 8 is your favorite medal?
That question is very popular. And
really?
Yeah, it's a very popular question. But when I look back at all my Olympic experiences, I have to say that Beijing, the 200 meters in Beijing 2008 was very special for many reasons. That was the first time in my career I was running only one individual event. I did not qualify in the 100 meters at the trials. And then I ran my personal best time, and I defended my title and became only the second woman in history to won consecutively at the Olympics in 200 meters. And so, at the end of the day, it was a very special moment. And so, although all my other Olympic experiences are special, I think that may be the most memorable, just because of all the events leading up to it and all that I was able to accomplish at that games.
And at that games and previously you ran against Allison Felix. I'm curious, what do you expect from her? You've obviously competed against her many times. It's her final Olympics. How do you think she's going to fare?
Alison is very tough. She's a tough competitor. I've competed with her many years, and I know that I always have to be ready when I line up with Alison. And she is very determined, and she's hardworking. And I expect her to go out there and give it her best. She's gonna give it her best. Whatever you get from Alison on the track, that's her best, because she is very confident in her ability, and she's gonna push herself. And I'm hoping that she can make it to the podium. I'm hoping that she can add a few more medals to her collection. And I'm just rooting for her and all the other Jamaican athletes, and I'm just excited to watch the games and just see some very great performances.
We all are. What are you up to right now, Veronica? Where are you?
Right now, apart from mothering my very energetic daughter, Aviana,
Yes.
I am the owner of VCB Fit. It's an activewear company. And I have a lot of day-to-day work that I'm doing with that, and we are bringing some very good products to our VCB Fit community very soon. And then I have my foundation in Jamaica that I give scholarships to high school girls, and so I'm working and adding a few things to the foundation. We're maybe thinking about branching out and start helping schools, because I realize that there's a lot of schools that need equipment and supplies and stuff like that. So we have a few projects that we're looking at, and so although I'm not competing, I'm busy, and I try to get a workout in every day. I have to stay in shape because my daughter, I have to make sure that I'm fit to trace her because she loves to run. And so I have to make sure I stay in shape. So apart from making sure I hit the gym or hit the track every day, I have the task of mothering and running my VCB Fit and my foundation.
Final question. What is more difficult, running 100 meters in under 11 seconds or raising a 2-year-old?
Oh man, raising a 2-year-old is the hardest job ever. There is no manual, and every day is an adventure. Every day I learn something new about Aviana, and she's just full of energy. It's hard for her to take her naps. Although I have to keep her in daycare because if she's at home, I cannot get nothing done because she's bringing books to read. She wants to play. She wants to do stuff. She's always on the go. So parenting is by far the hardest job. It's not even as hard as training for the Olympics and competing, because at least I can take a nap in the day. When Aviana is around, it's hard to take a nap. It's hard to really get me time, and so I have to put her in daycare so that I can get some work done. But it's fun. I love it. I love being a mother. I love seeing her blossom. Love seeing her grow, and I like to see her personality coming through. And it's just such a blessing for me to be in this position.
Well, we're looking forward to seeing her compete in the 2040 Summer Olympics. We shall follow your footsteps. Let me pull up a couple comments. Christine, one of Jamaica's best. God bless you. And we got Lorna Lee Atkinson, my favorite girl. Love her so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for taking the time today to be with us, Veronica. We're so excited. I was so excited to interview you. So thanks so much, and have a lovely day.
Thank you. It was a pleasure. Take care. Bye.
Bye-bye. Wow, that was amazing. Veronica Campbell Brown, what a champion. It was great to talk to her, but we're actually now going to take a look back at a conversation that I had earlier with the 2012 200-meter bronze medalist, Weir. So let's take a look. All right, we are here with Weir, 2012 London Olympics 200-meter bronze medalist, 2013 World Championships 200-meter silver medalist, and 4x100-meter gold medalist. Warren, thank you, and welcome to the sit down.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. It's a pleasure being here.
Awesome. So you're in Orlando right now, right?
Yes.
Awesome. So Claremont is where you're at. How long have you been in Florida?
So I basically moved there when I switched camps from 2018. So I've been living here since 2018.
Awesome. So let's go ahead and get started. I want to talk about you started track and field at an early age, and you actually started as a hurdler. What made you switch? Because it's not really common these days for people to, do a discipline like hurdles and then switch straight up. So what brought about that change?
So I did the hurdles in high school, and I switched. So I used to sprint in high school, but
Right.
I was like, my main event was hurdles. But I got hurt in high school. I thought it was just a sprained ankle and it just wouldn't go down. And then when I went pro, I realized it was a stress fracture. So it doesn't matter how much rest I got. Every time I would hurdle, I would always feel my ankle. So my coach at the time, Glenn Mills, said, you know what, let's try the longer sprints. And we started with the shorter sprints, and we just went to the longer sprint and just made the Olympic team, got a medal, and just didn't go back to hurdles.
So at what time, at what age were you when you finally thought, you know what, I can be a professional at this. I can make money doing this for a living. I could go to the Olympics. How old were you, and when did that come
I
out?
was in lower six. I was like 17.
Right.
When I got that stress fracture, that was the time I said, yo, I'm not going to college. I'm not running for no more institution. I'm just going to run for myself because of what happened during the stress fracture.
Right. So the Olympics are coming up in a few days, going to get started. What were some of your best memories for the Olympics? And are you excited about any particular event or any particular athlete that you're going to be looking out for in Tokyo?
Most definitely. I have a lot of friends who are competing. But mainly, let me start by saying some of my most memorable moments of the Olympics was meeting people I saw on TV.
Really? Like give me some examples.
So I met Westbrook. I met Kevin Durant. Took pictures with Kevin Durant. I met a lot of footballers there. I met Mata. I met a lot of footballers who I saw on TV and who played for my team. Chelsea. So that was like one of the star-studded moment for me, just being in the same camp as them, seeing them, and then just gelling with the other Jamaican athletes at that time was just like a wonderful feeling.
Yeah. So what's it like at Olympic Village for our viewers that are there? What is it like? You show up to the Olympics, you're training, you're trying to win a medal, but there's also all these other athletes around, people from all over the world. Like what is that like, hanging out with
it's
like you said, Kevin Durant and Westbrook?
It's like Silicon Valley.
Really?
Just imagine yourself living in Silicon Valley with all these great minds, all these talented geniuses. It's the same thing. You're in the Olympic Village with some of the world's greatest athletes from all disciplines, from swimming to basketball to football to track and field, and just imagine you there as a rookie and you just at the same time just trying to keep your composure because you're there for business, but at the same time, that's Kobe, that's LeBron. Like it's like something that you just dream about, but at the end of the day, you have to be grounded because you're also there for a mission.
Yep.
And you have to just be focused. As much as you want to play like fanboy, you have to realize that you have to stay focused.
Yeah, I was gonna say, did you like walk around with your bronze medal around your neck after you won it?
No, like at the London Olympic Games, like 200 is probably like one of the last events.
Right. Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
But even if I wanted to do that, there's no room to do that because as the 200 come to a close, there's like 2 more days before the championship finish. But regardless, still no, that wasn't. I didn't do that. Most I did was like take 2 pictures for my Instagram post. And
how many likes did you get on that post?
I don't remember, but I just know that I did an interview on BBC. Yeah. And I just woke up in the morning to my voice being spliced towards like I made a song out of my interview.
Oh, nice! You're a meme.
Yes, I just know that I woke up the next day and life just changed forever.
Talk about that 200-meter final because you were part of a historic event where it had never happened before, where Bolt, Blake, and you swept, and it was the first time that Jamaicans swept, the podium. So what did that feel like?
Like, so for me, it wasn't just that Jamaica swept the podium. It was just that we swept the podium and we're from the same club.
Right. Even inside Jamaica, you're from the same small little club, right?
From the same training group. So. Right. Honestly, for me, like I'm a tactician. I'm a realist. So like going into the Olympic Games, all of my interviews said that I'm going for the most realistic medal possible. So me and my team already sat down and we looked at the possibilities of what's her chance of getting a medal. And anybody that know how the Olympic Games know that there are 3 athletes from each country can represent. So even if America had like 5 athletes, they only can bring their 3 top best. So I started to sit down and pencil about where I could fall, and I realized that there's a possibility for me to get a medal, and there's a strong possibility. So we just went out there, we stayed focused, took it round by round, and just went out there and just did the job.
I've watched several of your races. It seems like you're a closer. Is that what you're known for? Because especially in 2012, I think you're in like maybe 5th or 6th running, and then you really caught up at the end.
So I am known as, so I ran a pretty decent finish so my race is in 3 parts. Like the first, like on the bend is the first part, the middle, and the end. So I run a very good start and finish. Yep. So I always try to capitalize on those, and that's my strength of my race. That's how I train. And that's just what I work on. And I never ever change my game plan. Doesn't matter who I'm running with. I always try to control my race. Doesn't matter who's in the race.
Right. So let's talk about the transition then, because athletics isn't the only thing that you're good at. You also switched over and started performing in rugby sevens. How did that come about? So
I was in Australia for the Commonwealth Games, and the rugby team was there, and they reached out to me, and I said to them, "Was like, yo," they explained what sevens was. There's like, "Yo, it's the same big field, 7 players. Just think about room to just sprint and demolish." But at that time, I was in competition, so I said, maybe after I think about it, but not at the moment. So I ended up getting a grade 2 tier at the Commonwealth Games. And then the season went by, track and field season went by, but the rugby season was a bit longer. So I said to the rugby team, like, so I'll give it a chance, because track and field season has been gone, and I can use this as a way to get fit and recover and stay active. So we made a switch. I went to a few sessions. I love the game. I love the team aspect of sport, because I've never been like track and field individual. Just the whole of being in a team, gelling with a team, moving with a team was so much different for me and was so refreshing. And I loved every moment of it, every session, every tournament I played. I just loved it. And you'll definitely see me on the rugby pitch sometime soon.
Oh, so you will be continue to compete?
I definitely will.
That's awesome. That is so cool. So I also wanted to talk about, because again, you have been doing the professional athlete thing for a long time, but you also started putting up YouTube videos, is from what I can tell, since 2010. But now you've got your whole channel with your family and stuff. So what is that like, doing these videos all the time?
So for me, so a lot of people think about stuff as work, but for me, they're just fun. They're just things I like to do. And when I like to do something, it comes about, like, to me, like part of my daily life, and it's so easy for me. And it's so fun and refreshing to share my experience with other people, because you don't know who those videos will help or uplift. And when a lot of people reach out to me, I say, "Yo, these videos are so nice and refreshing, and they help people to cope with different scenarios and just different experience in their life." And for me, that's why I do them and continue to do it.
So what's it like? I mean, I know you have 2 daughters, and I see Zyra, your 1-year-old, is growing up on camera. So question, is it more difficult to run a sub 20-second 200 meter, or to raise 2 daughters, including a 1-year-old?
It's much, I would say it's balanced, but it's much difficult. I would say difficult is because like our parenting is about understanding, learning, and making mistakes. And I would definitely say I can control my career. If I train hard, I'll know that I'll be one of the best. And I use that same aspect in being a parent. If I research, ask questions, be disciplined, I know that I'll be a great parent. And so I just basically use my training aspects and what I've learned in professional world into parenting, but with more fun.
Exactly. Well, I'm going to keep watching you. I'm going to keep watching you and your family and Alexa, and best of luck in your future. Thanks so much for coming on the show, Warren.
Thank you much, and thanks for having me. And everybody out there, all the best, and just keep supporting whichever your country is supporting the Olympics. Now I'm Team Jamaica.
Fantastic. All right. Thank you all. Have a good day. Well, that was my conversation with Warren Weir. I'm going to pull up some comments now from you all. Nicola Weir, any relation? Wishing you're still running for Jamaica. And we got Morgan saying, "Big up yourself, Weir." Great conversation with Warren Weir, 200-meter bronze medalist and YouTube star. So for our final interview today, I got a chance to sit down with my friend and the host of SportsMax Zone, George Davis. Bobby Addison Jr. I'm the public affairs officer at the U.S. Embassy in Kingston, Jamaica, and you're watching the very first edition of the Star Spangled Sit Down. We're really, really happy today to be joined by my guest, George Davis, executive producer at SportsMax and host of SportsMax Zone. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. The first guest, I'm honored.
We're here today to talk about something very important going on in the sports world, the Summer Olympics. My favorite, Tokyo, coming up. So let's do a preview. Okay, so we're in Jamaica. For the first time since 2000 in Sydney, there's going to be an Olympics where Usain Bolt is not competing.
Yeah.
What's the impact of that? And is there anyone that you see up and coming in Jamaica that might be male or female, the next, quote unquote, the next Usain Bolt?
Thank you for that question, Bobby. Look, since Bolt came on the scene and after a baptism of fire, we all remember the image of him running with the necklace in his mouth. We call it the chain in Jamaica. Yeah?
Nice.
And running with an injury and not getting out of the heats at the World Championships. The man transformed and became the transcendent talent that he was always destined to be. The absence of Bolt, to be direct to your question, means that we can discount 2 gold medals from the tally because you were sure he was going to win 100 and 200. And then with Bolt present, you had very high hopes of winning gold in the 4x100 meters relay for men. So 2 definite gold medals you can take out of the tally, perhaps 3 if you add the 4x100 meters relay. You ask if there is anybody on the horizon who has Bolt-like talent. And I'd say to you, Bobby, no, because in the long history of human beings running in the wild to catch their food, running in the wild to escape from prey after they went to catch food, up to this point, there has never been a human being faster than Bolt. So you can't replace that. That talent comes by not even once in a generation, perhaps once every 4 or 5 generations. Aligned to Bolt's talent on the track, remember, the 100 meters at its fastest run by him lasts for 9.58 seconds. The 200 for 19.19 seconds. That's the record as well. It's more than what he does in the race, because the race is fleeting. It's done quickly. It's afterwards. So he plays up to the gallery of the camera. He plays to the people in the stands, the people watching on TV. For most people, it's an act. So they say, okay, when I win, I'm going to do this. Before they start, I'm going to do this. No, that's him. He's being himself. And there is a lot of entertainment and other value to the post-race exploits of Bolt, the pre-race rituals and everything that the camera always tries to get. So you're looking to replace a man who has transcendental, once every 5 generation talent, plus the other things, the intangibles, the personality that nobody else in track and field has ever had, aligned with that transcendental talent, means that perhaps it is that by the time you and I grow old and our grandchildren are around, perhaps that's a time that another Bolt will emerge.
Let's talk about the upcoming games. So on the men's side, as you mentioned, Jamaica, with Bolt leading the way, has always been a force. You're guaranteed the 100, the 200, several other medals, and you guys have performed really well, obviously, in the 4x100. Is Jamaica going to medal in the 100 or 200 for the men's side?
It's funny you ask.
Is anyone catching Trayvon Bromell in the 100?
And that's where I'm going to go, because Trayvon Bromell and the American charge at the Olympics in the men's sprints, they are setting the standard.
They're stacked, really. Very, very good.
It's hard to see anybody getting in and amongst them. And it's funny you asked the question the way you did, because we've had a debate at my office where the talking heads of sport gather. And there have been various people who said, Jamaica, listen to this one now, Bob. Jamaica will not get a man into the 100 meters final. Can you imagine that? Going from a certain gold medal in the presence of Bolt and peak Johan Blake, you knew was a definite medal, a contender for gold, to not having a man who can make the final. That's what some people say. And some people say, okay, well, if you think that they won't medal in the 100 meters final, perhaps it is that they won't even get a qualifier in the semi-finals of the 200 meters. That's how weak the talent pool is. So that's the reality. When you look at the Americans, it's hard for me to say, okay, this is the guy who's going to deny the Americans a clean sweep of the 100 meters medals at Tokyo. And perhaps the same thing for the 200 meters as well. So it is, I think, going to be American dominance in the short sprints at the Olympics. For Jamaica, it's going to be a hard and a chastening and a humbling come down from what we've been used to in the past Olympic Games.
It's possible that Johan Blake could be peaking at the right time. I know he ran sub 10 recently.
9.95.
So it's possible that maybe he can get in the mix.
So like like a champion racehorse, you would say of Johan Blake that he has back class, and of course a former world champion,
Right.
second fastest man in history for 200 meters, and a man who has caught birds running in the 100 meters. But his recent history suggests that consistency has proven to be that elusive goal. So he'll drop 9.95 today,
Yep.
and his next race you don't know what he's going to drop. Also, when he goes through the rounds, as you saw him at the trials, when he looked shaping going into the 100 meters final as if he was going to drop something again and beat the field easy, instead he didn't beat a time that under normal circumstances you'd expect
Right.
Johan Blake to run sideways and be superior to. So it's just these things about consistency where Johan Blake is concerned and managing the rounds and having to run hard every round to get through that represent the question sign against him, and with him lies the hopes of Jamaican sprinting. And if he is the reference point right now, given his current form, the man has a doubted back class, but given his
Yep.
current form, you can only take him on trust, and that's why there's not much confidence in the Jamaicans in the short sprints among the men.
Well, let's move to events that I think you probably do have a lot of confidence in, and that's the women's side. So 100 meters, 200 meters, Elaine Thompson-Hara, Sharika Jackson, and Shelly-Ann Fraser-Price are the qualifiers for Jamaica in both the 100 and 200. So on the 100 side, is there going to be a sweep?
Let me tell you, people are buying brooms.
Yes.
Because they're going to metaphorically sweeping in their living rooms.
Good.
Because guess what? Everything is on the cards for that to happen. But you know very well that medals and races are not won in living rooms or at pubs or
Right.
at your friends on your friend's back patio, drinking peach schnapps or whatever. It's won on the day in the race, and there has been many a slip between cup and lip.
Right.
So we know very well from our history of disappointment in races where our superstar athlete or the one we saw as the giver of the gold medal has fallen short.
Right.
But there's so much confidence around the quality of the three that we have and that we are sending to Tokyo that we believe that with good racing luck, so if everybody enjoys normal racing luck, there's no mishap, nobody falls into a hole, Bob.
Right.
Prepare yourself to join with your team members in Jamaica at the U.S. Embassy, sweeping as we take 1, 2, 3 on the podium in the 100 meters women.
I think you might be right. Now, in the 200, America has a Harvard-educated sprinter named Gabby Thomas. She ran a time that was the second fastest, or the fastest since Flojo
Yes.
in the 200. That one, I think you see a lot more possibility of America getting some medals. But again, the top three on the Jamaican side, very, very good as well. Now, real quick on the 400, does Jamaican-American Allison Felix have enough gas in the tank to get a medal at her final Olympics?
Medal, I'm not sure. I doubt that highly. I
Right.
expect to see her in the front. Look,
She will be in the 4x400 mixed.
she should help
Right.
the USA to do great things. She's
Right.
an athlete I have tremendous respect for. I can't countenance myself saying something bad about Alice Felix. Her record is superhuman, and she's capable of anything. But I just think a medal at these games against the quality of competition in the flat four,
Right.
it's a port of call too far.
So what event are you most looking forward to watching in athletics?
You know what? It has to be the 100 meters women,
Yeah.
because it is to see if what we believe to be so will actually manifest itself. If
Right.
Fraser Price, Thompson-Hara, and Jackson can exert the stranglehold on the event that we expect them to, and if they can deliver. If Fraser Price can rise to the occasion, if Thompson-Hara can defend her Olympic title, and if Sharika Jackson continue to show the frightening improvement she has shown in the short sprint and run those even closer than she did at the national trials in Kingston.
So we know about Jamaica's prowess in track and field and athletics. Are there any other folks that people should know about that are competing in other events outside of athletics?
Well, the best bet, because there's so many things to look at. So don't waste time and look at too many things.
Right.
You and I Wisdom in the 3-meter springboard.
Right.
A 25-year-old Jamaican,
Yep.
born in Leeds. His father, Trevor, is a Jamaican. His mother is a Barbadian. So the
Right.
boy has Caribbean blood coursing right through him.
Perfect.
I think he has a chance to do himself proud. I don't expect him to medal because the margins are so thin in those highly technical events.
Of course.
But if you're going to look at a Jamaican outside of track and field, look no further than him. Atlanta, 1996.
Great games.
Men's 200 meters.
Michael
The
Johnson.
man in the golden spikes.
Right.
They called him Superman.
Yep.
Not Jamaican, not Caribbean. But he was something absolutely special. Pietromania's record was on the line.
Yep.
Michael Johnson produced on the biggest stage in a way that I will never forget. His running style, which every
Upright.
boy tried to emulate after on the playground.
Yeah.
It was something special. So that's one of my favorite memories as well. But both first,
Sure.
and then
Now, Michael Johnson in '96, you mentioned he's obviously 2 in the 400. I never thought that those records would be broken. Of course, the 400 got broken in 2016, and then we know that Bolt took down the 200. So to me, that's a great. Now, what about as a journalist? Like, you've been covering sports.
Yeah.
You've been at SportsMax since 2016.
Yes.
So you've been covering sports a long time.
Yeah, from 2005.
So what do you look forward to the most during this time period, during Olympic time period?
It's the different nations from which people emerge to drag their country into the limelight. Right. So in the way that an Antiguan sprinter, someone from St. Kitts Nevis, and I'm heavily Caribbean biased, and you know why, because we are Caribbean people. It's just to see that and to see how the Olympics don't represent a windfall for the winners in terms of cash in their pocket.
Right.
But it represents a reputation enhanced for themselves and their country. So when you look at the totality of the games, I like the narrative of an individual and a country becoming greater by virtue of the exploits of an individual in a particular discipline at the Olympics, or a relay team, or a synchronized swimming group.
Yep.
I love that story, and that's why the Olympics are so special to me, because you could pay a man $1 million to win a race, but a man who wins an Olympic medal and gets $10, history regards him or her as more special than the one who runs on the Diamond League circuit and pockets a fortune.
Right.
That's the thing about the Olympics that I love more than anything else.
We are looking forward to the Olympics. I'm looking forward to the Olympics. I'm looking forward to watching you on SportsMax.
Yes.
Thank you so much for being on the show today. Thank you all for watching Star Spangled Sit Down. Thank you so much, and have a lovely day. Well, that was my conversation with George Davis. And if you haven't seen it already, George actually had a video with Usain Bolt called the National Baby Trials. It is adorable. Go check it out right now. Search it on Google or on YouTube. It is hilarious. That's all the time we have for today. Thank you all who are here right now for watching. Thanks again to Veronica Campbell Brown, Warren Weir, and George Davis for the interviews. Please stay tuned for upcoming editions of the Star Spangled Sit Down. Thank you for watching, and have a good day.